lifestyle. I need them to come into my office to apply vanish, the 4i vanish. If they do not come, what happens? Nothing happens. So, then, what happened to us? What can we do? These are the two things that has been shown to work. In 2001, the CDC have a report from, this is a non-governmental organization. It's a task force on community preventive service. They look at the old data, they look at the research data, and found that the two things that work. One is that of water fluoridation. It has been shown to around 30% decrease in fetal cavities. And the other one is a school-based sealant program. It's significantly decreased by up to 60%. A very good program. They go to school, I don't need they come to you, they just go to school and do it. So the poor will be serviced, will be helped by this program. So what happened in 2001? And this is the program from PEW. But anyway, in this program, in this report, earlier in January this year, about the sealant program, we do not do well at all, the blue color. The green color is good, the blue color is here. We have reached less than 25% of the high-need schools in our area. So, how about Midville? High-need school, it means that it's more than 50% of the students have the National School Lunch Program, or participate in that program. And in our area, East End, First District, and Eastern Hill, both significantly more than 50%. It's only the Covington is good, so they pull down the number. If we look at the area that's supplied by the water of the Midville, I would say our area definitely will be more than 50%. And yet, we don't have any of those sealant programs in our area. And why is that? As a lot of manpower may be needed, and we may need to work on it. Pittsburgh had that already, but we don't have it. This is an issue. But this is a reality, we don't have it. What can we do then? I mentioned that other than the sealant program, another thing that has been shown to be useful is that of water fluoridation. Now look back on the data that I have shown you. Compare Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh now have the dental sealant program, school program. That is now. They back in 2000, they don't. All right? But they are much lower than us in the cavity incident. But they have one thing that's also more, is that of the fluorosis. They're more than us because they have water fluoridation. We don't. And the survey also found that if the water is fluoridated, the incidence of decay is much less, around 22% less, and 38% for the untreated decay. So let me talk a little bit about water fluoridation. Water fluoridation has been recognized by WHO as the safe and effective means of prevent cavities. And CDC even recognized it as one of the 10 great public health achievements in the 20th century. And after all the international and US health bodies who has issued a positional statement endorse water fluoridation. Then which two does not endorse it? One is that of the international biofactor, not just international, all the biofactor, okay, US included. They consider it as a possible harmful and deprivation of the right of citizens. Now I'm talking about the official that, and I do not include those programs that just like any citizen support program. Right? I'm talking about the national health program. That the International Biofactor Association is the one that thinking that it's harmful, it may not be good, and so they do not endorse it. And National Kidney Foundation is neutral on that. I will talk more about the kidney, the effect of fluoride on kidney later. So let me talk about the history of fluoridation. Here's the blue area is the natural occurring fluoride in the water, natural water. All right. So you can see that in Colorado or in Wisconsin, they have in some area, not all, who have fluoride in the city water. And actually, some in England, some in Germany, some in Italy as well. But India and China is another two countries that have really high areas with very high fluoride in the natural water. So how it was found, the effect? And actually, it was first described by a dentist in UK. And the dentist is called Norman Ashworth. And he found that there's a relation between the the teeth have a brown color. They call it brown teeth or mottled teeth, and the lack of dental decay. He don't know it's fluorosis, all right? But they found that there's many people have a brown teeth in Colorado. So the NIH sent a doctor over there to study that. And then that doctor go to the Colorado and then also in Wisconsin, and they found that many of those kids, they have much less cavities. So because of that, he didn't probably related to it. Then he do the study in Grand Rapids. So in the 25th of January, 45, so he artificially fluoridated the water of Grand Rapids in Michigan. And they used the nearby city of Muskegon as a control. And then after 5 years, he published his data and found that there's significant reduction in the dental cavities. And then a year later, the control group refused not to fluoride. So they add the fluoride to city water. So the data continued to be published, but we no longer have the control group over there. So since then, it's part of the official policy now to fluoridate all the city water. And by 60, throughout the world, started water fluoridation. So in the 80s and 90s, and many European countries start to stop the fluoridation. Anyway, by 2011, around 74% or 3/4 of the U.S. population have water in the have the fluoride in their water. So, what fluoridation works? It helps to reduce the dental cavities. With that, children are more healthy, less toothache, less miss of the school, and also save money. I will talk about that later as well. How much money that we may be able to save. Now, this is not just one study. There are many, many studies. This is evidence-based. And there are many reviews has been published from UK, from Australia, from US, and all this support the evidence. The evidence support that the claim that fluoridation of water helps to prevent cavities. And one CDC report in 2007 demonstrated the benefit for adults as well, not just for kids. And one Canadian review just used the Canadian data and found and also demonstrate the benefit. I don't trust them. I need to do it myself. So what I have done, I look at the data. Very simple. I go to PubMed.org. Most of the residents, medical students know what I'm talking about. I just put the water fluoridation and see what happened. And I come up with 257 items. Now, I do it not just now, I do it earlier in the summer. So I have 40 articles in this year and 77 in last year and so on. All right? And among this, only 15 have talk about the effectiveness of the water fluoridation in prevention of cavities. There are many editorial review, and if they're not, and a lot of talk about the effect or the harmful effect and so on. I discuss about the study of the harmful effect. Now, anyway, only 15 studies are there. I get all the articles except one. All right, that is a German article, which is printed in German. So for that reason, I don't know how to read German, so I do not read through that. But for the 14 articles, I read through that, and all of them support that water fluoridation of fluoride, artificial or natural, help to prevent cavities. All right, and the German, which does not show any difference. There's only one article that's not found any help. So what the article is? Again, I only read the abstract. I do not read the original data, so I don't know how good this is the abstract. And what they do is that in 1977, they found that in the area here, there's some natural occurring fluoride. And they found that in that area, in 1977, okay, that is 40% lower. The carrier prevalence is 40% lower. All right? And then they do a study again. That is from 2004 to 2009. Right? With 5 years, they look at all the kids in the primary school, and they found that there's no difference. That means water fluoridation does not help this group. All right. So, but I don't know whether they mentioned or not, but we know that salt fluoridation is widely used in Germany. Around 60 to 70% of the salt is fluoridated. If you go to Aldi in Germany, you cannot buy any salt that does not have fluoride in it. All right? So that means in that setting, fluoridation is not helpful. So I mentioned about social class, right? So that's the fluoridation help to decrease the difference between the rich or not the rich, the general or the poor one, all right? And the data that we studied, that was a review that was using the data that is in 2000 years, before 2000, and they found that this is the one of this UK study. They use a different, they use 1 to 5 as a way to classify the social status, and they found that the blue line is the one that is fluoridated, and the low, there is a low fluoridation. All right. So you can see that this is DMFT. It means the decay, lesion, and filling tooth. Right? It's a way, a score to reflect the incidence of cavities. All right? So you can see that the gap here is less than the gap here. So that means it helped more for the poor. Okay. Now, how about more recent one? In 2006, the same. The poor the gap seemed to be more than the one that is less deprived. How about 2012? They compare the city, Newcastle and Manchester. While Manchester is the one which is not fluoridated, and Newcastle is the one that's fluoridated. And you can look at the number though, it's around 0.5 to 1.5. I remember this number, I'll talk about those numbers later. But anyway, you can see that they combine the two together, the more the poorer they are, the wider the gap. That means the more the improvement. All right. So that means all the data show that fluoride help and help more for the poor. So how fluoride works? And we have studied so that it works. But how about the lab? It has been shown that it inhibits the enzyme of the bacteria. And so the number of bacteria actually is decreased. And with less metabolism, there's less acid. And even with that, it found that the enamel seemed to, the critical pH for the dissolution is, it will be lower. And so that means it's less soluble. And actually, they form a very thin layer of just 6 nanometer of the fluoroapatite type layer. And with that, that have a significant impact on prevent the hydroxyapatite to be dissolved. And also fluoride has been shown that this really new, it's just published this year. And they found that the force of the adhesion of the bacteria is reduced, but the adhesion force is reduced by the fluoride. These tables show how the fluoride can be delivered to us. All right. One is the water fluoridation. We can also fluoride the salt. We can fluoride the milk. We can give fluoride drops. You can see the concentration. The highest is the one that I mentioned, the one that I showed to you. That is the fluoride vanish, but we use a really small amount, just 0.4 ml, just paint on it, and only once every 3 to 6 months. So the amount to deliver the body is very small. The amount that we use is around 0.5 to 1 part per million. But actually now we have recommended a number of 0.7. I'll talk about that later as well. So what's the advantage of water fluoridation? It's accessible to the whole population. Everyone will get it, whether you no need to change your lifestyle, so no need to change your behavior. And it's been shown to be effective. And not only that, it's effective on top of the topical fluoride. So that means initially data was studied in the 50s and shown to be useful, but now, even now, with the widespread use of fluoride toothpaste and dentists, the topical fluoride, we still see the improvement. So that it is effective on top of all this. And it's cost effective, it's safe. The problem is that it's only feasible if there's a central water supply. If you live in an area they use well, you're not going to have the benefit from it. And it can have fluorosis, and you need the investment to build the, the instrument to deliver the fluoride in the water. All right. How about salt? Salt is different. Salt is the one that is widely used in South America as well as in Europe. It allows the choice, let you choose it. Now, that is for those who really don't want it, but for the majority of people, you just go to the store and get it, they will not read the label, then it's for everyone. So as been shown to be effective, the data is not as much as that of water. And but anyway, it's safe and it's quite well established. But compared with water, it will have less effect on the preschool because relatively, if you look at the number, the water intake compared with salt will be less in a small baby. All right. So because of that, this baby have the fluorosis. So that means there are less fluorosis for salt. But on the other hand, the production may be less. I don't have the data to show that, but it's a balance when you talk about fluorosis. Right? If the area have fluoride natural in the water, if you introduce a salt fluoride in the salt, that means they can have double dose. Right? So how about milk? Milk is not that good. Milk is, the fluoride is not fully ionized in milk, and not everyone drink milk. And actually not that much data there. We know data to show that it works. All supplement, even it's the least effective method. Most of the fluorides work locally. And so many of the European dental associations no longer recommend the use of all fluoride supplement. And ADA recommend it only for the high-risk children. But American Academy of Pediatrics has not changed our position. They may change it later. This is not data-based though. We don't really have that much harm, but it's because there's a high chance of getting fluorosis. So the ADA think that no, it's a high risk group that should have continued that practice. But we still recommend for everyone to get it in areas that don't have water fluoridation. This is the number of the that we use for how the fluoride is delivered, and so 300 some million using water fluoridation, 160 million for the salt fluoridation. So what's fluorosis? Fluorosis is some whitish flakes on the surface of the tooth. Has been shown to be related to fluoride. And the first 2 years is the time that the tooth, the enamel, is deposited in a permanent tooth. And this is the most critical time. And remember the dean, the doctor who sent the NIH to the Colorado to study it. So he's the one who designed an index to assess the severity of it. We divide the 6 groups, and from normal to severe. And if it's really mild, it will be less than 35%. If mild, with more than that, and moderate will be the whole surface, and the severe is the one significantly affected. That this is the look of it, all right? So we can see that this is the whitest color over here, on all the way from here to here. And this is moderate, and this is very bad.